Welcome back to another episode of our college football recap week. This is week two's recap. Pretty outstanding week of football for college football. Lots of upsets that I didn't expect. There's a couple on this list that I'm just like shocked by, disappointed by, and just like confused by. So let's start from the top. Iowa State. Iowa and Iowa State. That was what it was. That was a game that we knew was going to be very defense heavy. We knew that Iowa State has been on a roll. They've played 3 games this season, or 2 games before this Iowa State game, and you needed I think that first game away in Ireland definitely helped prepare them for this game. You look at this Iowa State team, and they are a team that are going to be competitive inside their conference. It's going to be a nail biter down to the end whenever you see this team because um, just electric, absolutely electric from them. The way that they played football today, the way that um, they held Iowa to almost nothing offensively. I mean, Iowa just couldn't get it going in the second half. Obviously, Iowa State, they got enough done in the first half where they just needed 3 points to win this game towards the end of the game. Um, and that's what it was. And I think you look at this Iowa team isn't horrible. They are horrible. They just played a really good Iowa State team. So interested to see what happens there. But Baylor and SMU, just an absolute disappointment from SMU. They had this game won. They couldn't. They just allowed points in the fourth quarter, and that's what the whole harsh reality was. Baylor. I was watching this game, especially like the fourth quarter, and it's down to the wire. SMU are up by the touchdown towards the end of the game, and um, all SMU had to do was hold on. All they had to do was not give up a touchdown. Um, and they did. They allowed the touchdown. SMU's kicker goes out and tries to make a 57-yarder. Just did not make it whatsoever. Just poor showing from him. We get to overtime. They both scored for a touchdown. Baylor scores a field goal, and then SMU misses the other field goal to win this game, or to tie it up to go continue overtime. Just disappointing from SMU. And I would say this: week one, I had Baylor winning against who they play week one. Let my brain find it. I had Baylor winning against. I don't really know who it was. Whoever they played. I had Baylor winning because I think Baylor's a completely different team from last year. They couldn't get it done, but this week they get it done against SMU. SMU needs to figure out what they are and who they are, because we know for a fact that SEC, if you get more than three or any team, you get more than 3 losses on the season, you were going to miss the college football playoffs unless you win your conference. Simple as that. That's just the rule now, I think. And so SMU can't get it done. Baylor gets it done to advance to 1-1. But I'll be interested to see how they look throughout the duration of the season. Mississippi State versus Arizona. This game, Arizona State literally came out and got punched in the mouth in the first half. Punched in the mouth the first half completely. Whether you want to call it SEC, whether you want to call it whatever, they could not run the ball. They could not be offensively. They couldn't do anything, and it showed. It completely showed against this Mississippi State team. Mississippi State, though, came out second half a little flat. Thought this game was over. And they allow Arizona State to come back. A couple drops late in the game for Arizona State cost them this game. They have to be better for the entire game. They have to be better for the entire game. If not, they will fail this season. If not, they will miss the playoffs this year. But I'll be interested to see, does Mississippi State jump to the top 25 now? Does Arizona drop out of the top 20? Probably. Same with SMU. I think SMU drops out of the top 20. Because, these 2 losses, they don't look great for either team. And then we have upset of the week. South Florida versus Florida. DJ Lagway and company versus a South Florida team who, to be fair, Coach did say it's going to be a completely different team this year. South Florida just controlled everything about this game. Controlled the intensity, control offensive side of the ball. Um, DJ Lagway didn't play well. That's just for a team who wants a very who has high expectations for a team who wants to really make it far in the college football playoffs. This is not a great start. Losing against South Florida, and dare I say it, I mean South Florida's not a great team. They probably won't be in the college football playoffs this year, but they definitely handled Florida today. Handled them from start to finish. Handled this Florida team. So Florida will drop, I think, pretty far outside of the top 20. That's just not good enough at all from them. AP poll comes out today at one point. I think it definitely comes out on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it comes out today. But the AP poll comes out today. Excited to see what that looks like. Excited to see where AP has all these teams set. Michigan versus Oklahoma. You saw from the start. I'll say this: the SEC this week made sure they came to work. The SEC this week made sure that they were back, because you look at week 1, they stunk it up. They stunk it up. That's just what it is. But week 2, you got Michigan, or other than Florida. Sorry, you got Oklahoma, Michigan, Arizona State versus Mississippi State. And those were the main two, but they made sure they represented for the SEC, and they definitely did. Oklahoma and Brent Venables completely controlled the narrative of this game from start to finish. Michigan didn't have a single touchdown in the first half. And I think Oklahoma and Brent Venables were just thinking, just be consistent. Be consistent for the entire game, for all 4 quarters. You get 7 points in the first, 7 points in the second, 7 points in the third. Be consistent every single down. In offense and defensively, just don't break. But you can bend, but don't break. Defensively, they just thought, listen, if we win, I think they think if we win 3 quarters, this game has to be ours. If we keep this game manageable, this game's ours. But you definitely saw frustration from that Michigan team. True freshman quarterback Bryce Underwood did not look great. They were fighting on the sideline. Just wasn't a complete game for this Michigan team whatsoever. And it showed. It completely showed that this Michigan team just wasn't good enough today. Oklahoma, though, they will drop to your top 15. They will probably drop into your top 13 because of the loss with Florida. And I think we're going to see a lot of movement today. Ole Miss, Kentucky, SEC games. This game was going to be one of the ones that were going to be either way, coin flip. Because you have 2 teams here who are really trying to make a name for themselves, continuously make a name for themselves inside of the SEC. Ole Miss, to me, I'm not going to lie to y'all, I don't expect Ole Miss to be that team that's going to make the college football playoffs this year. They're going to miss. I think they're going to have 3 or 4 losses on the season. And that's just going to be it. Yes, this win against Kentucky is going to be a big win. But I think, you look at Ole Miss, they have a schedule of, they have Georgia at one point, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Florida, Mississippi State. I mean, that could be anywhere. Oh, and LSU. LSU in like 2 weeks. So that could be anywhere from 2 to 6 losses, in my opinion. 2 to 6 losses. And, but, Ole Miss winning them early. They're winning these big games against Kentucky. That's going to be a good start for them. Troy versus Clemson. The only reason I have this claim on here because Troy came out in the first half and dominated Clemson at home. Clemson looked like they shelled themselves at home in the entire first half. The entire first half. And what I would say about that is that when you look at Clemson, you see a team that got beat by LSU week 1 at home. Looked nasty. Looked absolute criminal week 2 against Troy in the first half. Granted, they came out in the second half, got 2 interceptions, controlled the game back, won the game. Yes. But Troy, in the first half, almost pulled off one of the most insane upsets in college football history. Let that sink in. So, I don't know what Dabo is doing over there, but he's going to have to figure out his team and his defense. And then I have a list of teams that I want to talk about real quick. 2 of these teams I don't really believe in. 2 of these teams I believe in a lot. Or not a lot, but I'm starting to believe in a lot. Texas A&M, Clemson. Texas A&M didn't play great. They just did not play great whatsoever um against Utah State. Well, they didn't look to me they didn't look great. And that's the same thing against like last week. Yes, I know Texas A&M won 44-22. Last week they skirted by a little bit against. Let me see how they played. UTSA, they won 42-24. But again, these to me these wins aren't like glimmers of like perfection. Like I think there's still some gray area there, if that makes sense. But I'm interested to see them play, a top team instead of two teams who are great. Like it's upcoming week, Notre Dame versus Texas A&M. I'm taking Notre Dame off rip, and then they play Auburn, Mississippi State, and Florida, Arkansas, LSU, Missouri, South Carolina, and then they finish on Texas. I mean, Texas A&M have one of the hardest runs of the year starting next week with Notre Dame because they could lose every single one of these games. They could also win every single one of these games. I don't think that will happen, but that's that. Clemson, we just talked about them. They need to be better. But these two teams, I want to say now, Utah, Tennessee, have played better than I projected. They played better than your favorite commentators projected, and I think they can be, two teams that can slip into that top 25, two teams that can really dominate that inside of that top 15, top 12, if you let them. Utah is a team to look out for. I know I'm late to the party, but Utah is a team to look out for. But anyway, that's my week 2 recap. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. It was a fun week of college football. I'm excited for next week, and going to keep it going. But yeah, let me know. Peace.